welcome to the Fantasy News Show from the Bottled Imp. My name is Ken Boyter and this is your weekly fix of fantasy goodness. On this week's show, a late Middle Ages sport may soon become an Olympic sport. Lincoln streets are turned into an asylum, and you could take control of ancient forces and lead them into battle. But first, the 2015 Dice Tower Award winners have been announced, and those awards were set up by Tom Vassell from the Dice Tower. He's got a YouTube channel called the Dice Channel. The Dice Channel, that's a good one. The Dice Tower on YouTube, and they're very widely respected throughout the gaming industry, and obviously a big. It's got loads of subscribers, so a big gaming community. There are 14 different categories, with fantasy titles scooping a few winning titles. There are two. That I'm just going to mention here now. One was for the best board game components, and that's Blood Rage. And the best artwork was Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born. And also Time Stories won 3 actual categories. Now Time Stories isn't strictly speaking fantasy, it's kind of like a modular game that you play different modules, and there is a medieval one, so I'm kind of including it, and I'm pretty sure fantasy, full-on fantasy, will be explored in the future from them. They won for Time Stories. It was Best New Designer in Manuel Rossi, Best Game Theming, and also the most innovative game. You can look for the full list of winners by visiting thedicetower.com, and we also will put all the links in this episode in the description. Hopefully you'll have a better time describing those words, pronouncing those words. English Heritage are asking people to sign a petition to make jousting an Olympic sport. Yes, this is real. They believe that jousting should be seen at the Olympics, as they believe that today's jouster needs the same level of athleticism, agility, skill and strength as many of the would-be Olympics that are going to be competing in Rio this summer. So jousting is one of the oldest equestrian sports in the world, and it was England's first sort of national sport. It was hugely popular, obviously, back in the Middle Ages. Now, I would personally love this. You imagine this. You've got knights, riding in, competing, jousting, all of that, all of your fantasy dreams coming true, but right there on your telly. That would be fantastic. So if you would want to join the petition, you can simply visit englishheritage.org.uk. Showmasters are organising the Film and Comic Con in Glasgow. They promise to bring you a host of your favourite stars from TV, film and comics, as well as a selection of fun activities that normally happens at these events. Photo shoots, panels with guests, question and answer sessions, autograph sessions, plus obviously you're going to have hundreds and hundreds of stalls full of TV and film memorabilia, obviously goodies to buy. It all takes place over the weekend of the 20th and the 21st of August at the Bray Head Arena, Glasgow, Scotland. And tickets are still available. You can order them online by going to filmandcomicconglasgow.com. The Asylum in Lincoln, England, boasts being the world's largest and longest running steampunk festival. There's to be 4 days, yes, 4 days of this. 4 days in the historic streets of Lincoln. Now, I really find that fascinating. They take over pretty much, all of Lincoln. And the festival combines art, literature, music, fashion, and comedy. So that would be interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing a comedy stand-up doing a whole routine about steampunk. Maybe that's not maybe they do other topics as well. But anyway, some of the many features that's going to be taking place is costume parade, wacky races, and the jetpack race, which sounds amazing. That's all going to take place in the Lincoln Castle. And then in the engine shed is going to be the musical events. And at the Bailgate Methodist Hall, there's going to be an indoor market where you can purchase, presumably it's going to be all steampunk stuff to buy there. In the assembly rooms is the Great Exhibition. I love that, like Crystal Palace all those years ago. And evening entertainment, and also tea duelling. which I've actually done. I've done some tea dueling, which is fantastic fun. I did lose though, it was terrible. Yes, that all takes place, as I say, it's 4 days. It's the 26th to the 29th of August in Lincoln, and their website is asylumsteampunk.co.uk. Time Commanders is back for a third series. The BBC are looking for people to take part in their historical military strategic series. Teams go head to head with some of the greatest generals from history. I absolutely love this idea. Two teams basically take control of opposing ancient forces, and then they face the computer, which is pre-programmed by historical military experts, and then they basically face off against each other in one of the history's biggest battles. So you're basically recreating these battles, but as you would choose, as you are making the decisions. So obviously you might be making some of the right decisions, as in, you know, what happened in history. Well, even that, you know, there'll be wrong decisions as well to make. But you could actually be making better decisions, and actually the outcome of the battle will be different, outcome of the war will be different. To apply, you can actually go to the BBC website, which is bbc.co.uk, and then I found it by putting in the search bar "take part." They seem to have a whole section of where you can take part in BBC shows. Robot Wars is back. Yes, the new series is already 2 episodes in, so a little bit behind the news here at the Bottled Imp, but I wanted to make sure if it was any good. And I've watched them, and yes, it's just as good as ever. There's going to be 6 episodes this series, and there's new presenters, Dara O'Brien and also Angela Scanlon. They're the new presenters. But it is back with the commentary duties by Jonathan Pierce, so that's good to know. But more importantly, the house robots are back. All our favourites: Matilda, Dead Metal, Shunt, and of course Sir Kill-A-Lot. They've all got major upgrades, as you can imagine. I think it's been about 10 years since the last series, so they're beefed up. Better components. The show is it's basically where if you've never seen it, it's basically homemade computers. People just, not computers, but they make their own robots, and then they fight each other with those robots. It's fantastic fun. It all takes place in an arena, and the arena's bulletproof. They're behind bulletproof glass, so you can see there's lots of carnage takes place. It's on BBC Two in the UK, and it's also on the BBC iPlayer. Now, I'm not sure if you live out of the UK if you can see it. I don't know about iPlayer in other countries. Hopefully you can see it, because it's a fantastic series. Kickstarter news. Bones of the Coast is a comic anthology of West Coast horror. This anthology features 35 different creators from British Columbia, the Pacific Northwest, and also other countries as well. Now, the comic anthology will be published by the what they call the Cloudscape Comic Society. I love that name. And they are a non-profit comic collective that are based in Vancouver, British Columbia. And the society has already published 8 books to date, so they know what they're doing. This is their latest edition, and it's going to be edited by Shannon Campbell, Jeff Ellis, and Kathleen Jacks. And there's lots of different styles in the book, as you can imagine, because obviously you've got 35 different contributors. So hopefully there'll be something for everybody. It is nearly funded, and it finishes on the 18th of August. Hero Master is a series of fantasy game and role-playing game humour greeting cards. So if you've got somebody that's into gaming and you think, what sort of birthday card shall I buy? What greeting card shall I buy for them? And this could be the one for you. They're designed by Jamie Noble Fryer, or he's also known as the Noble Artist. See what he's done there. And his greeting cards, as I say, they're gamed specifically for gamers and role players. And they're planning a range of 6 different cards. You know, obviously 2 with birthday messages inside, and the rest will be left blank. And they do have various stretch goals as well to unlock. And yeah, there's about 3 or 4 different examples of the cards. As I say, there will be 6 different types. It's already funded, and it finishes on the 18th of August. Prince Valiant is a storytelling game by Greg Stafford and published by Nocturnal. And the original Prince Valiant storytelling game came out about 30 years ago, and this edition has been revamped, but it's been revamped by the original creator, which is Jeff Stafford. He did this about 30 years ago, and he based it on a comic book of about 30 years ago by Hal Foster, and I really recognised the illustrations. They had a really unique kind of almost classic fantasy look to them. You know, it felt like it was like the 50s, a really classic fantasy look to them. And he's kept all the same artwork. So if you love that artwork previously, you're going to like this artwork as well. And he says that this is like role-playing for people that aren't role-players. So if you're more into board games, this is a really simple version, say, of Dungeons & Dragons, because it only has one page of the rules, so you can easily just dive straight in there. And it also, a D&D role, you know, you have various different dice, different sided dice, which could get a bit confusing. All this system works on is a two-sided dice, so that's, you know, that's great. And also 2 sets per character, so if you are, oh, Dungeons & Dragons looks a bit complicated, then this could be a good way into that whole fantasy world. The artwork, as I say, it's got that classic fantasy, and that really did draw me to this project. It's already funded, and it finishes on the 26th of August. But that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching. We do also have a Friday Fantasy News Show. No, it's not a Friday Fantasy News Show. This is the Wednesday Fantasy News Show. I'll start again. We have a Friday Fantasy Show that comes out obviously every Friday, so check that out. We do reviews and all sorts of things on that show, so check that out. And also we've got a website, which is thebottledimp.com. Remember, we've got social media as well. Remember to spread the word, and also keep it unreal, especially if you can't talk like me.